Madam Director, how many press conferences have you held since the assassination attempt?
We have put out press releases.
How many press conferences have you held? Gone to the mic, taken questions from the public, from the media? How many?
I have not held any.
How many has Secretary Mayorkas held?
I don't.
0. How many has the FBI held? 0. How many has the Department of Justice held? I know you know the answer.
An assassination attempt on a former president, and 9 days later, still no answers. One congressman just cornered the Secret Service director in a brutal hearing, exposing contradictions, denied security requests, and a complete communication blackout. What was really happening behind the scenes before shots ring out in Butler, Pennsylvania?
I recognize Mr. Waltz from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Director, please, I'd like to direct your attention to this video.
And I sincerely appreciate the clarity on this.
Can we turn up the volume, staff?
I just want to ask you, because this has popped up. Republican Congressman Mike Waltz, he said on social media on Saturday, and I'm going to read this for you because it does talk about you, Secretary. I have very reliable sources telling me that there have been repeated requests for stronger Secret Service protection for President Trump denied by Secretary Mayorkas. Your department has already pushed back on that, calling that absolutely false, but he is putting this on you. Can you respond to that, please?
Well, that is, yeah, that's a baseless and irresponsible statement, and is one that is unequivocally false.
Director Cheatle, did you speak with your boss, Secretary Mayorkas? You fall under DHS. Did you speak with him on the 14th, the day after?
Yes, I did.
So you spoke with him before he made that statement?
I spoke with him immediately following the incident.
Did you inform him that all requests for additional resources for President Trump had been fulfilled? Or that it was false to say they had been denied?
I informed him that the request for that rally that day had been fulfilled.
Okay, you continue to answer that very carefully, because I made a broader statement. The agents that came to me made a broader statement that his permanent protective detail for years now have been asking for more. Is that correct?
I do not have specific incidents of those requests.
Is it correct that they've been asking for more?
I have heard the same reports that you have. Without having them in front of me, I am unable.
Those requests are made in writing. I mean, the agents are telling me they make them in writing. This isn't a verbal agency. Things are made in writing.
I understand what you're saying. I don't have those requests in front of me here.
I'm not asking if you have them in front of you. Are you aware that they were made?
As I said earlier, there are times when requests are made, and depending on the availability of assets, or if there is a way that
So there were times when they were denied?
If there is a way that vulnerability can be mitigated in a different way, then that is why
So there are times when they were denied, for a variety of reasons.
That is why the Secret Service has a multi-layered and multifaceted security plan, so that we can pivot if we need to.
So in the wake, in the immediate 48 hours of an assassination attempt on a former president, could be the next leader of the free world, almost had his head blown off, your boss says that's irresponsible and false to say things are denied. And you had talked to him. So did he just make that up on his own, or did you tell him that?
We were speaking about the requests made at the rally.
Staff, can we show the next slide, please? Then we have your spokesman. Did you sign off on this statement? That there's an assertion that a member of the former president's team requested additional security resources and those were rebuffed? This is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective resources and technology and capability as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. But next slide, please. Next slide, please, staff. We have the Washington Post article that then says we now have senior Secret Service officials saying there were at times when it was denied. So which is it?
Again, there have been a number of conversations going on here.
Did you sign off on that spokesman's statement?
The spokesman's statement, I believe, was related to requests that were made
Did
for
you
the
sign
rally.
off on it?
For the requests that were made at the rally.
Did
yes.
you sign off on the statement before it went out? I sign off on my press spokesman's statement before they go out. I would hope you would in the wake of an assassination attempt.
Yes.
You did. Categorically false that any requests were made. You signed off on it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarity. Madam Director, how many press conferences have you held since the assassination attempt?
We have put out press releases.
How many press conferences have you held? Gone to the mic, taken questions from the public, from the media? How many?
I have not held any.
How many has Secretary Mayorkas held?
I don't.
0. How many has the FBI held? 0. How many has the Department of Justice held? I know you know the answer.
I believe there was a press conference in Butler after the incident occurred.
By local law enforcement, not by you and not by the Department of Homeland Security. So this is how misinformation flies. I mean, in the darkness, in the absence of information. Now we have 9 days later before a congressional committee, we all represent almost 1 million people, and you still don't have answers. Are you aware that national news anchors are saying this was a hoax? On national television, they're saying, no, the president wasn't shot, it was flying glass. Are you aware of that?
I have not heard those reports.
Are you aware that, I mean, there are rumors rampant online that there were multiple shooters?
Yes.
Are you aware that because the shooter had overseas encrypted platforms in Belgium and New Zealand and in Germany, that a lot of people are speculating there could have been foreign involvement, logically? Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And have you done anything to disabuse any of these notions today? No. You haven't. Madam Director, I would fire you. Regardless of the failure, I would fire you just how you've handled it since. You should have been the first to the mics to say, America, world, I want to assure you we're going to get to the bottom of this. I want to assure you full transparency. Our agency clearly had major gaps here, and I want to personally take responsibility and accountability. You should have been the first, standing alongside Secretary Mayorkas, and I would even go so far as to say have daily press conferences, updating everyone on what we know. But you haven't had any of that. What are you hiding behind?
I am not hiding.
Because you're making the situation worse. I think you've heard that on a bipartisan basis here. You are making this situation far worse in the absence of information. Let's move on. This is truly astounding. I want to be clear, because you keep dodging the issue. Has President Trump's permanent protective detail requested additional assets over the last few years? He is clearly not your average former president. He's not Jimmy Carter in an old folks' home. He's not President Bush painting out in his barn. He has multiple residences, a lot of rallies. He's very publicly engaged, and he has a foreign threat in addition to domestic threats. Have they requested additional resources?
That's the last question, but please feel free to answer,
Thank you.
Director.
Thank you. We have continued, as I stated earlier, to increase over the past year the assets that are at the former president's residence and supplied to his detail.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just ask for one more indulgence. It is clear you have not been to Butler, Pennsylvania. Leaders lead and should be on the ground. You have not been there. Instead, you went to the RNC, but you weren't originally even going to go there. Where were you originally scheduled to go besides the RNC, a national special security event?
I was always scheduled to go to the RNC.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record that the director was scheduled to go to Aspen, hobnobbing around with, I don't know what liberal elites go to Aspen. That was where you were originally scheduled to go to speak at a forum.
I was scheduled to go to the RNC. I was going to leave the RNC for 24 hours and return back to the RNC.
I hope, as your predecessor, Julie Pearson, with a security incident on the White House and under the Obama administration and Reagan's Secret Service detail lead, I would hope you would have the dignity for the sake of the agents in the service to resign.
Gentleman's time's expired.
The tension inside Congress exploded when Mike Waltz confronted Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle over the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and the exchange was nothing short of staggering. Waltz opened by replaying earlier claims from the Department of Homeland Security that reports of denied Secret Service protection requests were absolutely false. But then he pressed Cheatle directly with one question: did Trump's team request more security resources over the years? At first, the director answered carefully, saying she didn't have the specific requests in front of her, but under pressure, she admitted there were times requests were denied or adjusted depending on available assets. That's when Waltz pounced, because according to him, agents assigned to Trump's protective detail had repeatedly asked for more support in writing, especially as Trump's campaign schedule intensified and threats increased. Waltz accused DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and agency leadership of publicly dismissing those concerns, while privately knowing requests had in fact been turned down at times. Then, the hearing shifted into something even more explosive. Waltz blasted federal agencies for what he called a complete failure of transparency after the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania. He pointed out that the Secret Service held 0 press conferences, DHS held 0 press conferences, the FBI barely addressed the public, and misinformation rapidly spread online in a vacuum. Rumors about multiple shooters, foreign involvement, and even claims that Trump wasn't actually struck by a bullet flooded social media. Waltz argued the silence from leadership made the chaos worse. He told Cheatle directly, "You should have been the first to the microphones." And then came the line that stunned the room. "I would fire you regardless of the failure. I would fire you just for how you handled it since." The congressman also criticized Cheatle for attending the Republican National Convention while not immediately visiting the Butler shooting site. He even accused her of planning a trip to Aspen during the crisis before public pressure intensified. By the end of the hearing, bipartisan frustration was boiling over. Lawmakers from both parties demanded accountability, answers, and resignations. And for millions watching, one question still hangs over the entire investigation. How did one of the most heavily protected political figures in the world come within inches of death?